We are going live. Good morning, good morning, good morning, South Florida. Hello, world. This is Robert Henderson Jr., certified financial planner, certified tax coach, live in the beautiful studios of the Henderson Financial Group, located in Miami Lakes, Florida. And surprise, 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 joining us, James T from Hot 105.
Oh,
Bro, man, just dropped in. Look who dropped in. Oh
stop,
man, hey, we
Rob.
24 minutes late, but maybe we
Woo,
can
we got it.
maybe we can get the crew to come back, And we got Linda just dropping in here, and then we're gonna have a special guest, Scott,
Yeah.
uh,
Scott
KS,
Malone. Yeah.
K. Scott Malone, Dr. Malone, as a matter of fact. Man, I tell you, boy, technology.
I
Isn't that
know.
something?
I know.
All right, let me see. Can I bring the doctor in here yet?
There he is.
There you is, Dr. Malone.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. Why? Good to
Boy.
see you. Good to see that. Technology, I ain't.
Stop, Rob. Don't even
Uh-oh.
hey, it's AI. AI tried to block us.
There you
That's
go.
what it is.
I titled the show today "Growth and Development" because Dr. Malone, this is my sister-in-law. Now, I don't know if you met Linda before. She had been going on a hiatus. She was basically studying a development class that she was in terms of real estate. How long has it been? Like 6 months or all? I know it's been all year, just about.
4 months.
Seems like forever.
It seems like forever, but I am so glad to be back. I missed you, gentlemen. Did you miss me?
Totally.
I feel like I've been through a relationship breakup,
No,
sworn in as chairwoman of the board. I was on crutches for a time. I
He was.
got a scare with my mother, which was very, very scary. Development class to become a developer. I had a top off ceremony for one of my buildings. So I've been through a lot, Robert. So needless to say, I am back with a vengeance. I have a lot of pent up opinions, and I haven't been able to find a formidable debate partner like you.
Yes.
So I'm glad to be back, but watch out because I got a lot to say.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Oh man, I know you. I know you do. I should just text and say she don't see us live on Facebook. Do you all see? Hey, LJ, Iris, Miss Redhead, Brenda Moore. Good morning. Good morning. Do y'all see us live on Facebook? Because I should just say she don't see us. Do you all see us? Tracy, put a 1 in there if y'all see us. If y'all see us, I guess you do. You logged on. It should be live on Facebook. I don't know. I hope we're not just talking to each other. Okay, Iris said yeah. Okay, well, cool. All right, Heisey, I gotta tell her.
Oh, Robert. I think what she was saying, that 24-minute gap, that's what she was replying to.
24-minute gap.
She
Oh
didn't see
yeah,
us.
yeah, because we do. Yeah, because we 24 minutes behind. You're right. She's got to be saying that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then plus it's a delay, right?
Well, only slight. But let me say, Linda, you look beautiful, sister.
Thank you.
It's good
As
to
I said,
see
you look
too.
marvelous.
Hey, you make being Robert look good too.
Yes.
So your
Thank
presence,
you very
your
much.
smiling face, and your colors, hey, you really make us look good. Okay, Rob, since we're running late, what did you say the topic of today's conversation is
I
going to be?
entitled it since we have the doctor Malone there, and then Linda doing development. I titled today's show is Growth and Development,
Okay.
and we're going to talk about that. First, we're going to talk about the doctor, his growth and development, and he's working on something that's basically going to change the way we live, I think. Okay. And then we're going to talk about Linda in terms of development, in terms of real estate, her experience. So, doctor, how you doing this morning?
Fine, Robert, James, and Linda.
Hey.
So you're doing good. So tell us about, because I have had the pleasure. I've been working with the doctor, and he is, well educated. That's why he's a doctor. And he's also a medical. And this guy is like a Renaissance man, not only in medicine, in terms of the community, dealing with the Boy Scouts. Just really, he is our brother from another mother. He fits well exactly. I mean, we came from different mother, but the same father. I'm not talking about the physical father, but I'm talking about the father, the spiritual father in Christ, Lord Jesus, the creator of the universe. Because this guy, I thought I work and love my work. James, you thought you worked and love your work. And
Hey.
Linda, you thought you worked and loved your work. But we found there's plenty of us, and we found another one.
Outworking us.
Yes. Dr. Malone, he loved his work and what he do and serve.
Beautiful.
He loves it also. And
Tell
he was
us what
telling
you
me
do,
about
Doc.
this it deals with AI, but it's an invention, a patent that he has that can actually help predict let's say athletes or illness that some kind of defects that you may have with your knee or whatever. It's a probability. Doctor, I'm not explaining the way you could explain it.
Let me hear from the good doctor, because he's not saying it right, doctor.
Well, it's like me trying to explain finances to you guys.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Robert, and I've listened to several of your shows on Facebook, and Jimmy over the year, he first introduced me to Robert. He started sending me clips to watch over a year ago, and of course, I'm a scientist as well. I'm a biomedical engineer, and then you compound that with medical, and then I'm one of these people who have to break things down in steps, analyze it, think it through logically, compile it, and it was just like overwhelming because before we get into my passion now, like Robert said, is healthcare technology, AI. You go back and you look at your background and you look at medicine, and I was fortunate. I used to like to think, because I worked as an engineer briefly in a co-op as an engineering student down at IBM in Boca Raton, Florida. I understood business a little bit, not the way I should have, not traditional corporate model. But when you get into the medical training side of the world, there's no training in business, finances, in medical school, pre-med, or when you finish medical school, there's a period of training called a residency, which can be 3 to 5 years. And on top of that, you do fellowships, which is specialized. I did all of that. And you literally get zero training on the business side of what you're dealing with in the business world. And then one day you graduate and you okay, now you're going to make a 6-figure income, and you start to practice, and then at the end of the year, what you thought you made, what you see each month is not what you think. And that's when taxes and other things come into play. The problem is the medical model, the traditional medical model, is designed to teach you how to take care of injury, illness, depending on what you do, procedures, and you're focusing on that. Then you got to focus. Then you realize a lot of people, takes a while. I knew early on it was a business, but the business side of medicine is medical coding, medical billing, revenue cycle management, managing staff, government regulations like HIPAA, and Stark, antitrust terms that you probably don't hear that often on your show, but those things encompass a lot of time. Now, I've been very fortunate, been very blessed, and we have 2 locations, and they've had up to 100 employees, and I've been our executive director in our practice for over 20 years. Now, we have monthly meetings, and you get monthly financials, and you get your balance sheet, income statement, general ledger, all that, but it's a lot of stuff. And then when you got multiple corporations within a corporation, just trying to keep up with that.
Right.
And I was thinking about this last night. Then at the end, you get to the point where, okay, what about my personal finances? So when I was talking with Robert, and I've had this discussion with Jimmy before, over the years, and I'm struggling with this concept a little bit now, is I had a CPA, which is a tax CPA, and based on where I grew up, how I grew up, I come from a rural area in Tennessee, which had no Afro-American doctors, one dentist. And I was fortunate, my mother worked for a primary care physician, and she's the first Afro-American nurse up in that area for, primary care physician. And he was very good You know, he had no kids, so it was like a godfather to me, and his wife was a judge. But once again, she managed the office. I still didn't know anything about the business side of medicine or your personal finance. And I mean, you know, like most of us growing up, maybe at the peak, my mother made $40,000 a year. You grew up in a single parent family home. You had nobody teaching you finance. So
That's
you
true.
compare all of that.
We all been there. That's right.
And then what I realized though is I could learn vicariously, and I watched. One thing I did learn early on was that I realized when you come from a small community where like 5 families run everything, and you see them moving and shaking and getting everything done, I realized one thing, and I told Robert this other day. I realized that the more successful you become and the more money you make, the harder you have to work to learn how to keep what you got.
That's right. That's right.
But
Ooh, yeah.
the disconnect was I did not know how to get from point A to point D, going back to my current situation with the CPA. And Robert explained it. He's a tax preparer, not a planner.
That's right.
And so trying to get my CPA every now and then, I'm like, what can I do to reduce my tax rate? Well, you will say, you know, you're pretty conservative what you're doing. And most doctors like me, we're 37 to 40% tax rate. If you had state taxes in the state where there's taxes. So I'm learning that side of it now. Like I felt bad, but like Robert said, you know, you can't, and Jimmy tells me all the time, you can't learn everything, but to being a doctor, engineer, you want to, right? So, you know, I'm like over the years, you know, you paying 37% taxes, and there is better ways that you can do things. I just didn't know.
No, but
but now I am beginning to learn.
But the good thing about it is, like me and James like to say, Linda, you know, trouble. First of all, trouble don't last forever, and when you are doing the right thing, you can't miss a blessing. So you're right on time. When as now the doctor, I'm starting to work with you, and I'm explaining this whole lot of the financial side, and in layman's breaking it down to you like a 6-year-old, you can see it plain. You know, oftentimes people feel like they look back and say, man, they missed a lot of time or they've been had. But you got to look at it from the bright side. Mm-hmm. That's over. You know what I mean? You're out of the storm. Now, man, you got plenty. Because when I come into your life, the Henderson Financial do come into your life, that's an indication that you got more to do. In other words, we right on time. So that means more money coming in the future. And now you're going to really grab it. That was just the first half. But now the second half, and especially with the patents and things that you are working on. And I want to share with our listening audience and our visual audience on this technology, this technique, because I know they never heard of it. I mean, we get more into AI. We're getting more into people are living longer because of science and medicine. And I wanted to share with the people what you are adding to it, the concept of something. So tell us about that, what you are going to be bringing to the world and you've been working on. What does this, I know you deal with sports medicine. Tell us the concept, you know, and break it down to us like a 6-year-old and give us examples.
Well, you know, I'm glad that you're giving me the opportunity. It's really first time. Now I've got video clips and things like that we put out there. We got a company that we are launching. And essentially what I've done over the years is combine my technology background with the healthcare background. And my ultimate goal, I never wanted to be an engineer. My mother, I got an engineering scholarship, and my mother said, old school, you're going to school, you're going to major in engineering, that's what you're going to do. So once I did what she told me I was going to do, then I went to medical school. So what I've done, I've combined healthcare and technology. And when I started working on this literally over 20 years ago, the buzzword was not AI as you hear it now. It was data modeling and looking at analytics, predictive analytics. What that is the ability to predict things. You guys do it in the insurance world and the finance world, fintech world all the time. But my career is basically now, I work all the way from professional teams down to Pop Warner level. And some of the things I realized in athletes, and more particularly, I'll say this, if you're dealing with football, basketball primarily, Afro-American athletes and people in general as a doctor, very rarely will people tell you they don't, like you just said, Robert, you got to break it down to them because they'll look at you and they won't tell you they don't understand what you're saying.
Right.
So I'm very keen to that and I pay attention. I try to break it down. I give educational pamphlets. But in particular in this area, what we deal with is when an athlete gets injured. My company is called Elite Athlete Data Global, LLC. We use artificial intelligence, augmented intelligence, which is the ability for the computer think like a human, but the outputs just don't. The big controversy right now with artificial intelligence is that machines are going to take over from human. We can't control it. You got self-driving cars, you got airplanes. Well, we have explainable AI, supervised machine learning, where within our systems, the ultimate checkoff has to be approved by a human. Now, what we're doing, we're looking at athletes. Here's a scenario. Athletes get injured all the time. You go to the NFL Players Association site, and on their first page, they tell you there's a 100% chance of getting injured. You get injured, and here's the problem. You get an injury, and it depends on the severity of the injury, what the expected outcome may or may not be. Because of that, you see the advent of gaming industry. People are betting on how long somebody will be out. Nobody really ultimately knows significance of what that injury would be. The sports commentators, the media people occasionally will show models and try to explain it from their perspective, but nobody's really taking a medically driven approach like we're doing. And what I mean by that is my company, where we really come into play, there is something called an athlete injury life cycle where you get hurt, you get assessed on the court, you get assessed on the field, then they'll either rehab it, you go back in the game if you can. If you can't, you're going to go back. You're going to get rehabbed at wherever your team's located with athletic trainers, physical therapists. Of course, doctors evaluate. If it becomes a problem that ultimately requires surgical intervention, you get that, and you got to rehab. Key point when we come in is, okay, what happens when you get a season-ending injury or career-ending? Now, going back to the concept I mentioned earlier, athletes are trying to perform, right? You're trying to perform. Very rarely do they learn about the body. So I start teaching them early on, Pop Warner level. I usually try to wait to middle school level, and I teach them and say, when you think it's not important, when you're taking anatomy or you're taking biology and you're taking science, it is. So let me tell you what I mean by that. What I mean by that is that your coaches want you just to be able to perform, because as long as you're performing, team's winning, coaches getting promoted, right? But okay, you don't understand your body. It's like finances. And what happens when you don't learn about it, you lose, right? So my point is, when I tell Robert Henderson he had a high ankle sprain, if Robert Henderson don't understand it, don't say anything to me, he may lose out. What that is it's a scenario. That's not a traditional sprain, it's a more severe sprain. They take longer. Now I don't expect you to understand the pathology of it, the term, the actual breakdown of what ligaments was torn, whatever. But the point is, it's going to take you longer to rehab. If you don't rehab right, you can end up with severe injury. You can end up with arthritis in that joint. Look at Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders' career was ended by something called turf toe. Now, who would think just injuring your toe, ultimately, you hear all the stuff in the media now about him having amputation, started with turf toes. My point is, they're not taught that. Okay, they're not taught what severity of injury can mean. Now you start getting into stuff that you and James and Linda deal with. You deal with athletes, you deal with finances, right? How do they know what severity of their injury is going to lead to? Is it going to lead to your contract being affected by not getting a new contract? What injury clauses and provisions are in your contract? What clauses are in a disability policy if you have one? Because at the NFL level, less than 30% of our athletes get disability policy. And you got a $500 million contract and don't have a disability policy. So when you get hurt, whatever's in your collective bargaining agreement, for instance, in football, is what you got, right? So,
Doctor, I think if you will allow me, I think I want to do a Q&A, because I understand things when I ask a question, and based on your response, then that'll drill it in and really sink in for me. So I'm gonna tell you what I think I just heard you say. You didn't say it, but this is what I heard.
That's good.
You didn't say it, but this is what I heard.
Oh Lord, Linda's back. in this back.
What
y'all.
I
Sounds like
heard,
my wife.
This is my sister-in-law, doctor. My wife's little sister.
what I heard was you have developed a model, and I'm thinking in my brain like I used to play with dolls back in the day, and your model says this athlete came in, he got hit, almost like our Dolphins quarterback, and he went down. We don't know the severity, but what you're going to work on is we're going to reinvent that injury on our AI prototype. Our AI prototype is going to tell us the severity, the probability of him coming back, the treatment, and therefore we can treat the individual, because we put it on my little doll. We did the same thing on my doll, and we hit my doll like the human being was hit. But the doll is hooked up to machines, and the machine's going to tell me how to treat my doll and if my doll will ever come back from this injury.
That's pretty good for the first time you're hearing this. It makes me feel good.
So it's a predictive, that AI artificial
That's the
intelligence.
predictive component of it. The step beyond that is when you get that impairment and you're like, for instance, Dawson quarterback, he's got concussions. Yes, we can simulate injury. That's what you're talking about. But then the question is, what are the long-term outcomes of that? And that's where you get into medical literature and published journals. And then the analytics come in, the AI, predictive analytics. Then you get into what's called impairment. If you can't come back, either season ending or career ending, depending on whatever contracts you have and how things are written, traditionally they use something called the AMA guides and give you a percentage of impairment, and that usually equates to dollars. This gets into the actual litigation component of this, if it goes that far, a dispute.
Yeah,
and right now there
cost
is
somebody
no
some money.
Yeah, the business part, the money
Yeah,
part.
because if you tell me my dog not coming back, then they're gonna cut me. But if I can pretend like I'm gonna come back, they'll keep me on the roster and keep my money coming. But when your AI says it's over, then I'm out. So you may cut my money, dog.
Well, we what we're gonna do, we're gonna be neutral. We're gonna give you the probabilities of you coming back and the probabilities of what that would be, because you may not want to come back if you know what it would be long term. When you 40-year-old, you walk in my office, I can tell you if you play college football or pro football, I can look at your knees.
Yeah, the way they walk, huh?
And then most of them, as you guys know from the financial world, there was a great story that ESPN did on 30 for 30 called Broke. 75% of NFL players are broke 3 years after they finish playing. See, they're never taught to set your money back to be prepared for when you 40, when you're 50, and you can no longer play and you got medical issues. Yeah. Now we're gonna be able to project the progression of the disease or the injury process and what it'll mean long term. Plus, our percentages are going to rival the only potential standard out there, which is called the AMA guides, which is designed for the working population, not elite athletes, which is a totally different population. It's like your quarter horse to your thoroughbred horse. And we're going to look at the basis of the system is looking at players by position by sport. So you're looking to compare finances. You want to compare finance in certain categories. If you look at doctors, what we're going to hopefully learn through this is what doctors should be considering based on our set of rules. Same thing with athletes. So when you get that impairment, you get that disability, and it has a potential numerical value that can be equated to dollars to protect yourself in the future and going forward.
That's true. Have you used it on a human being yet?
Yes, we're modeling it right now. What we hope to be, we will be the gold standard to go to for the source of data, predictive analytics, artificial intelligence, and the part that you just said. My most recent patent is simulation patent, and his name is Sam Injury. The avatar's name is Sam. Ian, last name is Jury.
Now, do you have that for women athletes? Because very often we're left out.
All athletes. My daughter's
none of this the human body.
There you go.
But women heal differently and get injured differently.
That's a good point.
My foot still hurt.
That's a good point, and that's built into the model. Because if you look at women, you look at the collegiate level, you'll see more ACL and cruciate ligament tears. Because they are built anatomy wise, physiologically different, so they have different injury patterns. Same thing applies to the military. So this is the gift that keeps giving.
Fantastic,
So-
doctor.
So, doctor, what you all are creating
Mhm.
and bringing forth and developing, it's not only for athletes, but I mean, obviously we know that's a great a great need because they banging and jumping and stretching a lot. But it also the same concept and the same principles also work for just everyday people on the job, disability. You know, it's across the board. But I know that there's a big need because athletes, especially football players,
Yeah.
they're running 100 miles an hour,
Ooh.
hitting each other, falling out, so
Bam.
to speak.
Yeah.
And it's the same. So I know that you're testing on that, but from there, man, this was going to be a great breakthrough in terms of just everyday people in terms of medicine and science. That's why we know. That's why Jimmy and I we said we're going to be living here at least 120
It's
years.
like predicting the future.
especially
You
with-
think, Doc? Is it equivalent to predicting the future?
Well,
I mean,
let's, I won't say that. You know what? It's predicting based on patterns. The best
Okay.
way, you guys work in the insurance world and financial world, and
Right.
you run actuary tables. The best
yeah.
way of knowing what's going to happen is knowing what happened in the past. The Bible tell you that those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it, right?
That's
so
right.
by running analytics and simulations and models, and by the way, it's not one patent. I got 4 and I'm writing a new one. But these things we have are revolutionary. I started working on this over 20 years ago, and usually I'm quite impressed with you, Linda, because most of the time people don't get this at all. And no matter how I try to,
Now, Linda's a little different. You'll find, doctor, you'll find she's a little different.
when I try
Wait
to
a minute. Wait a
dumb it
minute.
down, and it's hard to dumb down because it's very, very comprehensive. It's healthcare technology AI, which is one of the
Love it.
hottest markets for investors right now.
Gotcha.
And the thing that I've been blessed, I've been down the road. This is more on the business development side, Robert.
Mhm.
I've been developing this over 20 years. I've had people try to steal my IP, try to go get funding based on my ideas. I've probably been through 20 people who you think can help you. And it's taken me this long to get the right team. I got a world-class advisory team. My CEO is a former 30-year Wall Street guy now. So
Where are you
we're on the right
located?
track.
What
And I've
state are
got-
you in, doctor?
I'm in Georgia. And
Okay,
I've
so I
got
can get to you quickly. All right.
one of the guys, one of my athletes, when you go to, I'll give you guys links later on to my sites. But Otis Nixon's on my advisory board. And when you listen to somebody like Otis tell you he played baseball for 18 years,
Mm-hmm.
and when he finished, his agent came and said, Otis, you got to check for all your injuries over 18 years. And here's $250,000. Take it or leave it. And I'm like, Otis, if they gave you $250,000, they probably owed you $1 million. But he had no way of knowing. But see, all that's getting ready to change. Because now the athlete's going to say, wait a minute, what does the EAD data show that my injuries, based on my injury patterns, what I have, what it would have progressed to, what residuals am I left with, and theoretically, what's the value of that? And we
Economics.
calculate.
Wow.
See-
Now you're talking, doctor. That's a bargaining tool when I come in with that report and whip it out and say, pay me, because based on making your team owner this money for the last 18 years, this is how my body is reacting and what it's worth. That's something. I think that
Value.
What? That is
Well,
something.
Well,
else.
that team owner is going to come to us before he brings in
Mhm.
a tool with a hip dislocation hip surgery and say, okay, what should I expect in his position? How many years can I predict he can play? What kind of what will this injury that he have progressed to? That's the Bo Jackson injury that led to 5 hip replacement surgeries. See, and the team owners.
Hey, Rob.
If you can raise $100 million, what's an assessment worth to give you that information? Go ahead.
Rob and Linda, see, this is where the financial part comes in before the injury. When you're negotiating the contract, when we talk about you need a coach, when you were going out there for that first time, and we've all of us have dealt with athletes. I remember once in the studio, I had about 5 or 6 athletes and who were getting paid for the first time.
Mhm.
And one of those athletes said this: I didn't know who was FICA.
Remember,
Now you get $1 million contracts, but you don't know who FICA is. Yeah. So
Come out of your check.
Okay, so all of a sudden, you know, and these are millionaires. These are people that we see play every Sunday. We cheer, da 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 da. So I'm saying it, and it goes beyond just athletes, because how do we prepare? We get injured too, as Linda says. You know,
Right.
we get injured too. So that's why having a coach, having a financial planner, having an advisor, having a network of people that can aid you in preparing for life in the future as we see it, because we really don't know what it's going to look like 5 years from now. But based on, as the doctor was saying, based on the patterns and based on the information that we now have, we can prepare for. And the one thing I want to be prepared for is not just living. I want to know who the heck I am. and I
the
want
quality of my
to,
life,
right.
the
I was going to
quality.
say, and Linda, I was going to say, and I want to play golf as often as I want to.
Exactly. I want to dance. I want to ski. I want to do all of that as often as I can.
Yeah, the quality is
into
everything.
my older age. Absolutely.
Yeah, the
So-
quality is everything. I mean,
Mhm.
last week I reported on they just approved the first flying car in the U.S.
I saw
and it's
that.
going to be it's going to come out in 2025.
You go first.
300,000. 300,000.
You
Linda
go
say I go
first.
first.
Yeah, you got
Wow.
policies.
Yeah, and it's 300,000, and it's electric vehicle, so it'll be able to go drive, and then when it gets ready to go up,
That'll
Yeah,
be perfect.
that's
for
right,
you.
that's right. And everybody in my office know I hate traffic. I don't
You know,
understand
artificial
traffic.
intelligence is going to control it too.
Yeah, and then it goes vertical, so you don't need a runway. It'll go vertical up. So that's coming out in 2 years. I'm so excited about that. And it's a 2-seater, and then the 4-seater coming out 10 years from now.
I cannot.
Yeah.
I am.
So
I love it. I love it though.
so you have to, if you're doing the right thing, the future looks bright. I mean, a lot of people are pessimistic about the
if we
world.
stay healthy,
Well, a lot of people are pessimistic about the world and the state of things, the conditions. They say they're going to hell, but I'm just the opposite of that. I mean, I'm really excited about the future. I mean, because I think, a matter of fact, I know that the world really corrects itself. I mean, it really does. Believe it or not, the universe will correct it, and I feel that we are going in the right direction in terms of growth and development. The development now, what we see right now, is the best in the history of the world. And every year it gets better and better because you have people like Dr. Malone who are creating. This guy is working on creating. And Linda, you just spent some time learning more about developing real estate.
oh yeah,
And the whole, just the back and forth and what's entitled, what it takes. And a lot of people don't know what you have been studying about the partnering with local governments.
absolutely. One thing I know is corporate welfare is real.
Now tell us more about when you say corporate welfare, because most people don't understand. When you think about welfare, you think about Section 8
Right.
or welfare checks and that
Right,
kind of thing.
right.
But when you say corporate welfare, what most people don't know nothing of, tell us what is corporate welfare, especially when it comes to growth in real estate. When you see these big tall buildings all around the
Man.
cities in these different states, how is corporate welfare being used there? How does that work?
Please know that when you see all of those big, beautiful buildings, a lot of us are from Miami or Delray and all
New
these
York,
new developments,
California.
New York. Most of the time, those developers, not a dime came out of their money,
What? Say
out
what?
of their pockets, rather.
So-
Not
so-
a dime came out of their pockets.
So
It
tell us
is-
about that.
Right now, we have the Investment Recovery Act. We have COVID relief money on the streets, and this is grant money, and very often half a percentage in interest rate money. And it comes from the federal government, and then it's given to a lot of local municipalities, which partner with developers like myself and say, "Hey, we need more." Very often, affordable housing. What if we give you the land? What if we give you $1 million or $2 million in grant money, meaning you don't have to pay it back, and then we'll give you a 0.5% loan during your construction period? Can you help us and build? You darn right I can.
So the reason why you call that corporate welfare is because that money, when you say welfare, you're thinking about assistance.
Absolutely.
And you
Just
think
like
about
that.
government assistance.
Absolutely.
So you're saying, which this happens, as a matter of fact, this is how our U.S. tax code works. The U.S. tax code, 99% of the U.S. tax code, that's 73,000 book with no pictures. It tells you how not to pay taxes. And the government, every government around the world, their job is to expand and grow, and they need private sector to help them to expand and grow, because if you're a janitor, you can't really help them in terms of creating more oil, more energy, more greenery. You can't do that. So they look for people who have money to help and partner with the government. That's what Linda called corporate welfare. There's a lot of corporate welfare.
And now, Robert, if a developer gives a certain percentage of his units for a certain income level,
Right.
no property taxes.
No property tax.
No property tax.
So let's walk this through. So,
which is a huge hit on your budget.
So let's say there's a block of land out there, and you say, listen, I got an idea. Because to be a developer, you don't need a license. There's no license.
No.
The developer is like a person that has an idea.
Really, it is
a vision
and can see it through,
and says, here's this big block of land, government, that you guys just have and it's been sitting there for 20 years. I got an idea. As a matter of fact, I got a drawing, and I have an idea to build 500 apartment buildings.
Absolutely.
And the government says, can you do it? And you say, yes, I know who can do it. I know who can build it. I know who can put it together. I know an architect. So you as a developer don't need a license, not a college degree.
No degree in
just an idea, just a thought, a good thought, because the government, they have the money because they get all our taxes.
Looking for people with thoughts.
They're looking for people with thoughts. Okay. So this person says, listen, here's this tract of land. I have an idea to put 500 affordable apartments. Now, you're saying that if you go to the government with that, whether it's a lot of locals, okay?
You really want the local.
You really want the local.
Yeah.
And this is in every state, right?
This is in every state. It really is.
What about cities?
In every city, all politics is local. So every state, then you want to pick your county, and then you want to pick your municipality, and then you want to pick your district. And then you want to get to know who's that district council person. And then you want to get to know the needs in that district. What are your needs? Do you need elderly housing? Do you need aging out of foster care? And then you want to get a meeting with your district person. Then you want to go to their groundbreaking. You want to make sure they get to know you. And then you want to pitch your idea.
So each city, each county, all around the U.S., they have needs, and they have needs to help develop their community.
Absolutely.
They need partners. And and you may not have own the land, but if you have an idea, a vision, you find out what they need, then they will say, okay, good. You're someone that has an idea. You can help facilitate this. Here's the land for free. And matter of fact, we'll give you money to help you to build it and orchestrate it and quarterback it, so to speak.
Absolutely. Now, what they do want is you to have a track record.
In other words, you can't be someone.
You can't just come and
I got an
be a 40-year-old rapper and say I got a beat. And so never did it before. And so very often, like I had to do it initially, is I had to engage a partner, because that experience part is very, very important.
Yeah, experience is good.
Yeah, they don't want to give you that money and land, and it's your first try, your first rodeo. And so I've had to partner, and now I can just gradually, once you have a name for yourself and you've succeeded at it, and then there's plenty of land and things out there, and I can't wait to come back and share it with the audience. There's so much I want to talk about. Next Saturday, though, as you know, is my 6th annual Little Black Dress and Pearls hashtag Women, Wisdom, and Wealth.
That's right.
And I started that as the chairwoman of the Women's Business Council of the Chamber. Now I'm the chairwoman of the board of directors, and it is sold out.
Wow.
It is over 400 powerful, beautiful women. If anybody that you want to know, congresswomen, councilwomen, city council, everybody will be there. CEOs, entrepreneurs. It's the place to be. Saturday, July 15th, 11 to 3. I think there's few tickets left, but it's almost sold out. So I'm very, very excited about that. And again, it's all part of getting to know your community, so you can go to that congresswoman and ask, for some of that COVID relief money, or you can go. We're honoring Madam Mayor, the first female mayor of Miami-Dade County. I have her cell number now.
Oh, okay. So
And
you
so
saying
it's all
you saying
about
even where Dr. Malone lives, there is a need for certain real estate development.
Oh, I know he can attest to that. Absolutely. Georgia is very expensive, and they're having a record number of evictions now. Since
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm like a sponge. I'm absorbing everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, the reason he's doing that, Robert, is because he has another plan that he's working on with cyber optics.
Yeah.
wow.
Oh man. Yeah, I know he told me about that too, which is going to be fantastic. Yeah, James, he's working. While they watching Netflix, he's thinking. He's saying, okay, how can I create?
Very.
How can I do
Backed up
this?
all this data with something. You got to push it and you got to pull it. And the fiber optics is the key. That is the lightning rod, the technology into the future. That with the AI.
So you think?
Wow.
So you think in terms of almost everything that you want to do, there is, and it's for the community good.
Oh yeah.
You're saying that
Oh,
there is money available to most people that they don't know not of.
Absolutely. Especially if you want to help the community.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, yes, it will enrich the individual, but it's a win-win. It really is a win-win because that person that poor. What do you like? Do you go to get coffee? You don't go.
Nah,
you don't know
drink
your
coffee.
barista.
No, I don't know that.
Well, the barista.
I like
doesn't
tea. This is green tea.
Okay.
Now, I
Most
like tea.
people, you like eating out.
Sidewalk cafes.
Okay. Well, those people that serve you that food cannot afford to live in their neighborhood.
Right.
They are driving sometimes 90 minutes. So we need those people, despite how our governor is running out all of our help, especially the agricultural help. We need them and they need somewhere to live. So if you can help municipalities
Affordable
fix
housing.
that problem, yeah.
They'll give you money.
It's a partnership.
Okay, yeah, it's a partnership.
It's a
You got to have
partnership.
something. You got to have some sort of skills.
Value.
Yeah, you have to have value.
Yeah.
You're doing something because government usually moves slow.
Oh, yes.
But if you someone that can anchor this and actually drive this and partner with them, then they will bring something to the table. As long as they're going to spend those dollars with you. As long as you're going to help the community thrive
Absolutely.
and create growth.
Absolutely.
And so that's why you say corporate development. A lot of people don't even know this side of the table, Linda, because most people think when they see wealthy people and they see these big, tall buildings going up all around the country, or these apartment buildings, they think that is just wealthy people with a lot of money getting richer. They don't know that most of the time, those people that are putting together those apartment complexes and housing,
They just have an
townhouses,
idea and
they're not using their money.
They're not using their money.
They're saying, hey, I'm going to help. I'm going to come forth, but I need this land. Now, the thing about it, what we've learned is when you have we have government that owns a local government that owns a lot of land, they won't actually give the land to you so you can sell at the highest bidder.
No.
They won't do that.
No.
So the partnership says, okay, we'll give you the land, but you have to be able to.
And you have a time limit.
And you have a time. In
Yeah,
other words,
we're not going to let you just sit on that land while it appreciates. And now we've given you land back then. And that's happening now. And land is very expensive now. So a lot of those developers that got land pre-COVID, if they haven't built, they're clawing it back now.
So they'll say, okay, we're going to give you this land and you can build, 100 houses, but they may give you 2 or 3 years to build them.
At least 3 years to build it. Absolutely.
And then they'll tell you the going rate, how much you can sell them for.
Absolutely. Because it's supposed to be what? Affordable.
Right. So they won't give you free land and give you 3 years and all of a sudden you're going to build $1 million houses.
No.
Right.
No.
Because
then the barista can't live there and serve you your sidewalk cafe dinner.
Okay, so therefore, that's where the partnership comes in.
Absolutely.
Oh man,
100%.
And this is done all around the country.
Yeah, and it's really doing well while doing good. You know what I mean? You can do well while doing good for the community. And yes, those developers make a lot of money because, as you know, that 500 unit building appreciates.
Yes.
You can't just get it and then say, you know what, I don't want it affordable anymore. I'm going to now raise the price of it.
Right.
They want you to keep it affordable very often for 10 years or more.
But
And
one of the
just
things,
to make
Linda,
sure you do it,
but
we-
Linda, isn't one of the things that you have to, there's a number of affordable or low cost housing when you do these projects, right? It's
Yeah.
not every one of them have to be affordable.
no, that's called a projects. And so we don't want to get a bunch of
I just want,
low
I just wanted to
income,
clarify that.
500 of them all living
Right, right.
together.
I just wanted to clarify that so people would know
Thank you.
all of them are not quote unquote affordable housing.
No,
You
we
have-
call that
yeah.
mixed income.
Right. You have
So-
so many units that you can create.
So if
for
you can build
affordable.
100 units, maybe 25, maybe.
Maybe 25 of them will. And then what's a game changer, Robert and James and Dr. Malone, is if you give them at least 25 or 30% affordable, the rest can be market. You don't have to pay property taxes.
On the
That's-
whole. Wow.
Oh man, that's in Dade County because our Madam Mayor is very serious about affordable housing, and hopefully it's a model others will follow. But man, and
You
then
don't
of
pay
course
property
there's
tax.
no permit fee and no impact fee. It's just check. She's really doing everything she can, and I'm so excited that she'll be at our event Saturday.
Oh, so that development that we're doing, we're gonna be the.
Yes, Casa Linda, it's called. It's a 21
Now see,
unit.
hey, James, doctor, I own the land. And she,
It's
so
not
she gonna call it her name Linda. She already put on this. It's called Casa Linda.
Yes.
You know. Thank God she's my wife's sister.
Your
I
family.
already got everything. The plans are drawn up under Casa Linda. Like, all the reports are coming under Casa Linda. So it is now Casa Linda.
Oh,
Casa Linda.
Lord.
Casa- now, Linda, you should have been smart. You should have used your sister's name. And
Oh.
yeah,
He
Casa.
would have liked Casa Natalie. Casa Natalia.
Casa Natalia. My wife's
Next
name is
one,
Natalie.
next one,
She
next
said that's the next one, but you know it's Casa Linda. She told me that's what she named the
I
development
ran with
that
it.
we're
I
doing.
ran with it, Robert.
I
It
said,
is
Linda-
now officially Casa Linda.
No, I said Linda, long as I get the check. No,
Check say Robert Henderson.
Long as the check
not
say Robert
Casa
Henderson.
Linda. I got you, Robert. I am so excited. I know time is limited now, but I would love to take our listeners on a journey with me. And it's interesting. It's definitely not a sprint, but it's
Time.
worth it. Yeah.
and I'm glad you said that it's not a sprint, because if you notice, if you've lived at least 20, 30 years on the planet,
Mhm.
then you start to know that almost everything that is good is not instant. Matter of fact, I won't say almost everything that is good is not instant.
I agree.
Even for right on down from the grits. Okay, it's not instant. It takes time. Right on down to the oak tree.
Oxtails.
It, you said what? Oxtail?
Be quiet. I know you.
I don't eat the
Yeah,
tails of the
okay.
ox anymore.
All right.
Okay, but anyway, everything. If you really look at, if you want to look in terms of and gather some wisdom
Mhm.
and understanding about life and how things work,
Mhm.
fine wine. It ages. If you
It's
have
a
if
marathon.
you have what doctor is working on. Like
He
you
said 20 years, right,
you know?
doctor? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it takes time. So that's the maturity of something that's really good, because you have to fine tune it, you have to perfect it.
Yeah.
You have to keep on drafting and getting it better. That's not instant. That's not the way.
And it's
it
not
works.
for the faint of heart, because one of the projects went through COVID and prices going up, construction prices and work stoppages because everybody couldn't work. So it's not for the faint of heart
Yes.
at all. And like the doctor was talking about risk and money, everything is bottom line. What am I worth? What am I value? What's that athlete worth? Doctor, what I wanted to ask before we go is, are you able to detect and help with prevention? So I may come to you with my dog, because the dog is healthy now, and my dog, it plays a certain position,
He
running
don't
back.
know what your dog gonna do.
He don't know my dog is a running back, and the dog may running back take a certain
What are you
sustainable.
gonna say? What are you gonna say when somebody get ready to hit you?
No.
Just fall down.
No,
That's how you prevent it.
no, the doctor can say, as a running back to my dog, you may want to hit this way. You may want to hit. You may want to take this
Right,
pill.
Linda,
No?
your dog need coverage. Your dog needs
That's right.
coverage.
disability
where
policy.
right.
Dis-
Your dog needs coverage.
injury policy, a disability policy. That's what they can do.
Say the
And-
dog
and-
need a
and-
line.
Yeah.
Need a line.
And that's
The
but
dog
I'm
needs some
serious.
insurance.
That and we help us, Dr. Malone.
Oh, that is
When
hilarious.
they're doing these contracts, they're just looking at, oh, I'm going to get millions, my agent's going to get this, and they do not know the risk that is being taken. So how do I prepare? And I don't just prepare for if I'm going to get an injury
He
that
can tell me to do this kind of stretching or that stretch or this
Linda,
kind of
you need
weight.
coverage.
No,
go ahead, Doc.
Well, I mean, like I said before, it's the system that keeps on giving. What I mean by that is multifactorial. So to answer your question and Jimmy's at the same time, yes, because if you know what an injury is going to progress to, then you know how to prevent it on the front end.
told
There's several
y'all.
companies
Told
out
y'all.
there that are in the injury prevention mode and predicting the injury, but they can't tell you what to do. You get an impairment, what it's going to progress to medically, what it means long term, getting to where Jimmy's going. Then you got to protect that. How do you protect that? Disability policies. That what the insurance companies do, the athletes don't know. They have what they call exclusions, like you have on the insurance world. What I learned 15 years ago, I'm from a former general manager, Kansas City Chief. I was trying to get my godson insured to play on Auburn National Championship team, and I wanted the policy. And he told me what the premium was be, and I said, "Where'd you get that number from?" I said, "He's never been hurt." He said, "Well, there is exclusions." I said, "Who determined the exclusion?" He said, "A retired NFL team physician for 20 years experience." I said, "Really?" I said, "There's no calculation." He said, "No, I depend on him." Then I go to the underwriter and he determines what the premium would be. That told me right then, I knew I was on the right track. So if you use analytics, artificial intelligence, then we can do what regular insurance companies do. Then you go back to Jimmy's point. Now when he comes and tells me $5,000 for a $500,000 policy, and here's the exclusions, I'm saying, no, that's not a good answer. Because our data shows for this position, this is the kind of injury he's likely to get, when he's likely to get, or if he's already had this previous injury, this is what it can progress to, and at what point it may. Now, it's contact collision sport. You can never say 100% certainty, but it's like your life insurance or your health insurance. They calculate tables on you.
That's
and
true.
they look at your comorbidities and your family history and
That's
the medications. As Robert was telling me the other day, your medical, what is it, medical information, the MIB?
Yeah, MIB, Medical Information Bureau, right?
Yeah.
They look at all that. Well, we're going to do the same thing on our side. But now we'll be able to help educate, which is part of your show. And what Jimmy does, we're going to teach our athletes this side that nobody has ever taught them. Those that stay in the game the longest are the ones that understand their body and understand how to take care of the body. This side, from our perspective, is a totally different approach.
And what is happening here, folks, is that most of these quote unquote professional athletes have been injured, prior to coming into the professional sports.
That's true.
And see, that's where you want to find, you really gotta know, because it doesn't just affect the athlete, it affects his entire family. So if your doll is going to meet another doll and they're gonna hook up.
I want to say one thing, and I'm going to walk right down the line, but it's true. I try to tell them at the high school level, collegiate level, and pro level. Every time that you have severe injury and you get surgery, your value devalues, right?
Right.
That's like a car or anything else. But sometimes you can have an injury that you can get better without operating on, right?
Right.
And then there are some people that benefit from the fact that I operated on LeBron James, whoever it was. See? So that's where we come into. Should you really have had to have that procedure done? Where's the best place to get that procedure done? What will it mean if I have this procedure done? What does it mean from a non-surgical standpoint? If I don't get it done, what does it mean from a surgical standpoint? How do I rehab it?
That's true, because as soon as they get that surgery, they go into MIB.
Yes.
See?
Yes. And in this economics, there's money attached to
the
it.
money,
Economic value.
Understanding money.
Understanding money. It's all business, show business. Most people are into the show, but boy, what drives it is the business part of it. If you don't get the business
Absolutely.
right, there won't be no show.
Hey, you'll be watching the show. You won't be in it. You'll be
Yeah,
on the sidelines watching. But
Fun,
Yeah.
it's a real thing that, and this is where parents, when you've got that child, that son or that daughter that's out there playing sports. I
Okay.
had a sports
Yeah.
injury. I slid into second base playing
Absolutely.
little league.
Gentlemen,
football.
on this note, I'm going to leave.
Yes.
I'm on mama duty.
Oh,
Yes.
And I know we started a little late, and my sister's waiting on me to get
Yeah.
back.
Well, we get ready to wrap it up
we're
anyway.
gonna wrap.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll wrap it
Yeah,
up.
we're
Go
gonna
ahead,
wrap it up.
Rob.
Listen,
Go ahead.
thank you so much. And Linda, so now we know that you're not going to be able to join in and put your 2 cents in next Saturday, right?
Absolutely. But I'm
Because-
back after that, and I got a lot to say.
Oh, I know you do.
I'm ready. So I need you to be ready.
I know you
I'm
do.
smarter now than when I left in March. I got a
Oh,
lot more to say.
Well, I
I
got-
know a lot more, and I know probably things you don't.
Well, I have gotten smarter since you've been gone. I
Rob,
think I just been
you
sitting
been-
down
yeah.
twiddling my thumbs.
yeah. Hey, Rob, you've been to several more conferences than she did not attend.
What? Look, James, you tell her. You tell her. You think I just been sitting around twiddling my thumbs while she's been all learning something? Like I've been learning too. The doctor been learning. James, you've been learning. You think she's the
Amen.
only one?
I'm more learned. I'm telling you, I can't wait. I
Hey,
can't wait.
Hey, doctor, thank you so much. I'm so glad to see my sister-in-law, my wife, little sister back. I'm so glad about that. And she's
Okay.
learning more. She's working on all our behalf because she comes back and she's going to tell us ideas and
Yeah,
tell us stuff that we
yeah,
didn't know. And
yeah.
that's what I like about it, growth and development. Because
Absolutely.
I've always said, we have been put on this planet to expand, to grow, not to be idle, not to just watch TV and just get a job and stop, So James and Doctor, I really want to thank you for coming on. You're going to be coming back also to keep us abreast on what's going on, and a lot of people need to understand this because they have children, they have family members that are in sports, and I want them to be able to articulate what you're saying and understand and be able to spread this good news. James, on that note, brother, you gotta get a good prayer. We need prayer. We need prayer. We always need prayer.
Father
Take us
God, we thank you, oh God, for this opportunity to come together this morning, even with a little hiccup. But more than that, the reward was having Linda back and having Dr. Malone to join Robert and myself. So first of all, we ask that you would bless them and keep them safe. And then for those who check in, whether they were listening today or they'll be listening in the future, open them to an awareness that they've never had. But more than that, dear God, give them that understanding and then that ability to take action on what they learn. So often we learn more, but we do less. So help us to learn more and do more and watch you add to all that we do in serving one another so that we may be blessed to be a blessing, and we'll glorify you if you will do that for us. In Jesus' name we pray.
Let
Amen.
the church say amen.
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 Man, that was a good one. Oh, and listen, I want y'all to enjoy your weekend and be safe and always
Same.
expand, learn, and grow. Much love to you. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right. Thank you, guys.